Here are Grandma's 40 sewing hacks and tips that you wish you knew sooner. Wax hand sewing thread with beeswax block. Grandma always kept a beeswax block in her sewing basket for one reason. It made hand stitching easier. Rubbing thread across beeswax helps it glide through fabric without fraying, tangling, or knotting. It strengthens weak fibers and is especially useful when working with heavy cloth, buttons, or hems. Run the thread through once or twice, then press lightly with a warm iron to set the wax. Keep beeswax in a small tin to avoid dust. Replace as needed, and use wax on embroidery threads to prevent snags. Feed elastic through casing using safety pin. Did you know that safety pins weren't just for emergency fixes? They're a go-to tool for threading elastic through narrow fabric casings. Simply pin one end of the elastic, then inch it through by scrunching the fabric along the pin and pulling. This method works for waistbands, sleeves, and necklines. Choose a pin small enough to slide easily, but strong enough not to bend. When finished, unpin and stitch the ends in place. Keep extra pins in a labeled pouch for quick access during repetitive casing work. Store bobbins neatly in pedicure toe separator. Instead of letting bobbins roll in a drawer, try storing them in a foam pedicure toe separator. Each slot holds one bobbin snugly, keeping threads from tangling or unraveling. You can organize by color, thread weight, or project. The soft foam protects delicate threads and makes it easy to grab what you need. Trim the separator to fit your drawer or toolkit, or stack several vertically inside a mason jar. If foam wears down over time, replace it with a new one cut to the same shape. Sharpen dull pins in steel wool pincushion. Grandma believed in keeping tools sharp, not replacing them. She often filled pin cushions with steel wool to keep her pins in top shape. Every time she inserted a pin, it rubbed slightly against the fibers, polishing and sharpening the tip. This trick works great for quilters, dressmakers, and hobbyists alike. Just layer cotton fabric over the wool so it doesn't snag fingers. Add lavender or cinnamon to the cushion stuffing to keep your sewing box fresh. Smelling while gently treating your tools. Cut templates from freezer paper for quilting. Freezer paper is a quilter's quiet secret. Its waxy backing sticks lightly to fabric with just a warm iron, making it ideal for tracing and cutting repeat shapes. Draw your template on the dull side, cut it out, then iron onto your fabric. After cutting, peel it off and reuse several times. This method works wonderfully for applique or intricate patterns. Keep your used pieces flat in an envelope. Label each one by shape and size so you can reach for it quickly when needed. Corral loose pins in magnetic dish. Loose pins can scatter easily, but a magnetic dish solves that. This shallow container uses a magnet to hold pins in place even if the dish tips. Drop pins quickly while sewing and scoop them up again with one swipe. Use a small metal baking tin with a magnet glued underneath for a DIY version. Keep the dish near your machine or cutting station for fast access. Empty it between projects so it doesn't get overloaded, and wipe clean with a damp cloth weekly. Spray-based quilt layers. Ditch the pins. Layering a quilt top, batting, and backing can be a tricky task, but using spray-based instead of pins makes it much smoother. A light mist of temporary adhesive helps hold the layers flat and aligned without shifting. It eliminates puckers, reduces bulk, and allows easier machine quilting. Make sure to work in a well-ventilated area and smooth the fabric outward from the center. Test spray on scrap fabric before using. After quilting, wash the finished quilt to remove any lingering residue and restore softness. Rip seams fast using a reverse seam ripper glide. Instead of lifting every stitch, flip the seam ripper upside down and glide its hook through the seam for faster removal. The curved blade slices stitches as it moves, saving time on long seams or hems. Hold fabric taut and work on a flat surface for control. Keep your ripper sharp. Dull blades snag or tear fabric. If stitches are delicate, alternate between traditional picking and gliding. Store seam rippers in a capped container to protect the blade and prevent pokes when digging through your kit. Gather fabric with 2 basted rows pulled. Grandma's gathering technique was simple, strong, and precise. She always stitched 2 parallel basting rows, about 1/4 inch apart, then gently pulled the bobbin threads to gather fabric evenly. This method creates a tidy, controlled ruffle and reduces puckering. Once gathered, the rows act as guides when attaching to a waistband, bodice, or apron. After sewing in place, remove the basting stitches for a clean finish. For stubborn fabric, steam press the gathers before stitching. Keep thread tails long for easier adjustments as you shape the gathers. Reinforce buttons using durable dental floss. When regular thread just doesn't hold up, especially on coats or work shirts, dental floss is a great alternative. Its strength keeps buttons firmly attached even after repeated use and washing. Thread a needle as usual, double the floss, and knot it securely before stitching. Choose unwaxed floss to avoid residue. After securing the button, make a few extra passes and finish with a hidden knot. For a clean finish, dab the knot with clear beeswax or a dot of bar soap to seal. Mark dark cloth with leftover soap slivers. Forget chalk. Leftover bar soap slivers make perfect markers for dark fabric. Rub the edge gently onto the material, leaving a fine, visible line that washes out easily. It's an ideal reuse for those tiny scraps you'd normally toss. Store soap slivers in a tin or cloth bag with your sewing notions. Use light pressure to avoid stretching or damaging delicate weaves. Keep different soap shapes on hand for various widths of lines. To sharpen edges, trim with a blade or press into a mold. Stash scissors point down in sturdy mug. Storing scissors loose in drawers dulls blades and risks accidents. Instead, stand them point down in a ceramic mug or tin cup for easy access and safe storage. The weight of the cup prevents tipping, and it keeps your sharp tools upright and in sight. Group shears, snips, and embroidery scissors together. Add cloth padding to the base to protect tips. Label the mug with washi tape or ribbon if you keep multiple pairs for fabric, paper, or thread-only use. Chain piece quilt squares to conserve thread. Instead of cutting and sewing each quilt square individually, try chain piecing. Feed one square after another through your machine without trimming the thread in between. This method not only saves time, but also cuts down on wasted thread and reduces tangles. It's especially useful when assembling large quilt tops. Once you're done, simply snip the threads between each square with small scissors. Organize your chain-pieced units into stacks to keep your layout in order and make the final assembly much faster and more accurate. Keep seam guide with washi tape. For straighter stitching, place a strip of washi tape on your sewing machine as a seam guide. It creates a clear visual line without marking the fabric. Washi tape peels off cleanly and is easy to reposition as needed. This trick works wonderfully for top stitching or quilting, especially when consistency matters. You can even color code multiple seam widths by layering different tape styles. Replace tape when it lifts or collects lint. Keep extra rolls in your sewing kit and stick one on your notebook to always have some handy. Replace lost drawstrings using bodkin or pin. Lost drawstrings in pajama pants or bags are easily fixed using a safety pin or bodkin. Attach the pin to one end of the replacement string and feed it slowly through the casing, scrunching the fabric as you go. A firm grip helps guide it smoothly. If the tunnel's tight, a dab of wax on the pin reduces friction. Once the string emerges, knot both ends securely. To prevent future loss, tack each end down with a small hand stitch or add stopper beads. Press seams open using wooden dowel rod. If you don't have an ironing board handy, a simple wooden dowel rod makes a great seam press. Lay your seam over the rod and press each side flat with your iron. The rounded surface opens the seam without flattening texture or warping curves. It's ideal for sleeves, collars, or quilt bindings. Choose a smooth rod and set it over a folded towel for stability. Wrap the dowel in muslin to protect delicate fabrics. Store several in different sizes for varied garment shapes. Quick press edges with hair straightener. Did you know that a flat iron, like the kind used for hair, can press fabric edges in tight spots? Its slim plates are perfect for crisp seams, narrow hems, or quilting folds. Just make sure it's clean and set to a safe temperature for fabric. Press lightly to avoid shine. It's a great solution when you don't want to set up the full iron. Unplug promptly after use and let cool before storing. Use on the sewing table for quick access between seams. Tape 2 pencils to trace seam allowance. Grandma had a clever way to trace seam allowances. She'd tape 2 pencils side by side, creating parallel lines while drawing. This makes it easy to mark both the cutting and stitching lines at once, especially when working with patterns that don't include seam margins. Secure the pencils tightly with rubber bands or painter's tape so they stay even. Sharpen tips together for accurate marks. Store the pencil pair in your notions box so it's always ready. Label the setup by width using masking tape. Stitch piping easily using zipper foot. For clean, even piping, use your sewing machine's zipper foot to stitch close to the piping cord. The narrow foot lets you glide right up against the raised edge without distorting fabric. This technique is perfect for pillows, bags, and dress seams that need definition. Line up piping between fabric layers, pin securely, and sew slowly. If your piping shifts, use double-sided basting tape to hold it in place. Practice first on a scrap to test tension, especially when working with thicker piping cords. Pink curves before turning for smooth edges. Turning sewn curves right side out can lead to bunching unless you clip or pink the edges. Pinking shears trim away excess fabric while adding small notches that help the fabric lay flat once flipped. This is especially helpful on armholes, necklines, or scalloped seams. Avoid cutting too close to the stitch line. After turning, press gently with steam to shape. Keep a small pair of pinking shears in your project basket so you don't forget this step. Your seams will always look polished. Edge stitch thick denim with top stitch needle. Denim can be tricky to sew, especially at thick seams. A top stitch needle helps by piercing through layers cleanly without skip stitches. Combine it with heavy-duty thread and lengthen your stitch slightly for a clean, professional edge. Use a walking foot if your machine struggles with fabric drag. Always test tension on scraps. Edge stitch about 1/8 of an inch from the fold or seam for best results. Keep a separate needle marked for denim so you don't dull your all-purpose ones on rugged fabrics. Wear oven mitt as finger guard while ironing. When working with hot fabric or narrow seams, slip a clean oven mitt on your non-dominant hand. It shields your fingers from steam burns while allowing you to hold fabric firmly in place. This simple household item offers more coverage than sewing gloves and is easy to find. Be sure the mitt is free of grease or residue to avoid staining your fabric. Keep it near your ironing board so you're not tempted to rush through pressing steps unprotected during long sewing sessions. Slice stubborn stitches with safety razor. Tightly sewn seams or heavy thread can be difficult to remove with a seam ripper alone. A single-edge safety razor makes quick work of it. Just hold the fabric taut and lightly slice along the stitch line. Always angle the blade away from the fabric to avoid accidental snags. Use this method only when other tools fail. Store the razor in a labeled envelope to prevent cuts. Replace blades regularly to avoid dragging, and always cut on a flat surface for safety. Thread machine needle through dental floss loop. Fine threads and tiny machine eyes can frustrate even the steadiest hands. To ease the process, form a loop with dental floss. Insert it through the needle, then pass your thread through the loop and pull back. The thread glides right into place. Use unwaxed floss to avoid residue. Keep a loop pre-made and taped to your machine for convenience. For machines with automatic threaders, this also helps when that feature wears out or fails. Label your floss container for sewing use only. Wind bobbins by hand during evening TV. Grandma never let idle hands go to waste. She often wound bobbins by hand during quiet evening hours, especially while sitting by the stove or listening to the radio. It's a soothing task that saves time later at the machine. Use an empty bobbin and gently guide the thread from the spool, winding steadily for even tension. Secure the thread tail through the side hole when done. Keep a small tray of pre-wound bobbins by color near your sewing station for faster project starts. Sharpen rotary blade cutting folded foil. Rotary blades dull fast, but cutting through stacked layers of aluminum foil helps restore their edge temporarily. Fold several pieces of foil into a thick square and run your rotary cutter across it multiple times. This won't replace a new blade, but it can extend use between replacements. Always clean lint and thread buildup first. Rotate the blade and repeat in different directions. Avoid using this trick too often on specialty blades. Keep foil sheets folded and stored with your extra cutting supplies. Store patterns inside clear page protectors. Paper sewing patterns can tear or wrinkle easily, especially with repeated use. Sliding them into clear page protectors keeps them visible, flat, and clean. Store the protectors in a 3-ring binder organized by category: skirts, aprons, quilting blocks, etc. Use tab dividers for fast navigation. This method works equally well for trays, templates, instructions, or fabric swatches. Label each sleeve with a sticky note or permanent marker. Keep a binder dedicated to current projects and another for long-term favorites or seasonal designs. Recycle flannel sheet into pressing cloth. A worn-out flannel sheet has a second life as a pressing cloth. Cut into manageable squares and hem the edges if fraying occurs. Flannel protects delicate fabrics like silk or lace from direct heat while helping press seams flat without shine. It also absorbs moisture, making it excellent for steam pressing. Store clean cloths in a drawer near your iron. To refresh between uses, shake off lint and press again on high to kill any lingering bacteria or odor from frequent steaming. Use old tape measure as trim. Instead of tossing an old or stretched out measuring tape, use it as decorative trim. Sew it along aprons, tote bags, or pin cushion edges for a charming, tailor-inspired accent. Trim the tape ends neatly and use fray check or fold under before stitching. Choose areas that won't flex too much to preserve its flat look. Layer over ribbon or bias tape for contrast. Keep broken tape measures in a labeled pouch so you always have pieces on hand for crafty embellishments. Cap seam ripper with wine cork stopper. Seam ripper caps tend to go missing, and uncovered blades can lead to accidental pricks. A wine cork makes a quick, safe replacement. Just push the tip into the cork for secure storage. Choose a natural cork, not synthetic, for a firmer grip. You can even carve a small divot in the top to rest the seam ripper when in use. Paint or mark the cork's top with bright ink so you can spot it quickly among your sewing tools. Pin perpendicular to seam for easy removal. Instead of pinning parallel to your seam line, try placing your pins perpendicular to it. This makes them easier to remove as you sew and reduces puckering. The needle can glide right over many pins without damage, especially with fine glass head styles. This method also helps stabilize multiple layers. Insert pins with the heads sticking out for fast grabbing. For best results, space pins about an inch apart on curves. Keep a pin cushion nearby and remove each one as you go. Stabilize slippery fabric with spray starch. Slippery fabrics like satin or rayon can be hard to cut and sew cleanly. Lightly misting them with spray starch before handling gives temporary stiffness, making everything more manageable. Allow the fabric to dry fully and press it flat before pinning or stitching. This extra step reduces shifting and prevents seams from puckering. Use a light touch. Too much starch can flake or gum up your needle. Test on a scrap first. Store your starch bottle with interfacing and linings for easy access. Turn narrow tubes using chopstick helper. Turning narrow sewn tubes like straps or button loops can be frustrating without the right tool. A chopstick offers the perfect shape and length to guide the fabric through itself. Simply sew the tube, clip corners, then insert the chopstick and scrunch the fabric over it gently. Push slowly to avoid poking through the seam. This method works especially well with linen or cotton. Keep several sizes of wooden sticks in your sewing basket for different widths. Round tips work best and won't tear the fabric. Baste hems with water-soluble thread. When hand-basting hems or pleats, water-soluble thread saves time. Sew your temporary stitches as usual, then press and finish the project. Once you're done, a quick rinse or steam dissolves the basting thread completely. No picking needed. It's ideal for formal wear or delicate garments where stitch marks could show. Store this special thread in a zip pouch to keep it dry. Always label your bobbin if using in a machine, and test wash settings before using it on irreplaceable fabrics or projects. Magnetize spare needles on machine side. Loose needles can get lost easily, and stepping on one is no fun. Stick a small magnet to the side of your sewing machine and park extra needles there. It keeps them handy but out of your workspace. Use a flat magnet with a strong grip so nothing falls off during vibration. You can even color code your needles with polish dots before storing. This also works great for needle threaders, seam rippers, or metal bodkins. Clean magnet occasionally to remove lint or dust. Clean lint with masking tape roller. Bits of lint, thread, and fuzz can clutter your fabric or workspace fast. A simple masking tape roller is a low-tech solution that grabs stray fibers without leaving residue. Just wrap tape around your fingers or a paint roller, sticky side out, and roll over your garment or cutting mat. Replace the tape once it's full. This works well in sewing corners, under machines, or on clothes before final pressing. Keep a roll in your sewing basket for quick cleanup between steps or before trying on finished pieces. Secure knit seams with tissue paper. Did you know that tissue paper can stabilize stretchy knits as you sew? Slippery or curling edges often shift under the needle, causing skipped stitches. To prevent this, sandwich your fabric between sheets of tissue and sew through all layers. Once done, gently tear the paper away. It rips cleanly along the stitches. This method helps with neckbands, cuffs, or hems where distortion is common. Save tissue from patterns or packaging and store it flat with interfacing. Always test on scraps before sewing delicate knits. File fabric vertically in magazine holders. Folding fabric into vertical stacks and storing it in upright magazine holders keeps your stash organized and visible. It mimics the look of a tidy bookshelf, letting you see colors, textures, and sizes at a glance. Fold pieces around cardboard or plastic templates for uniformity. Group by color or fabric weight. This works well for fat quarters, remnants, or small cuts. Label each holder clearly and line them on a shelf. Add cedar chips in the back to deter moths and keep everything fresh. Anchor foot pedal on shelf liner mat. Sliding foot pedals can be frustrating, especially on tile or hardwood floors. Grandma solved this by placing a piece of rubber shelf liner beneath the pedal, gripping the floor, and keeping the pedal in place. The mat's texture holds it steady even with fast sewing. Cut a small square, no larger than a placemat, to fit neatly underfoot. Store an extra piece in your machine case when traveling. Replace the mat if it collects dust or loses grip, and wipe clean regularly. Rub candle wax along sticky zipper teeth. Stuck zippers don't always need replacing. Rubbing a plain candle, beeswax, or paraffin along the teeth can help them glide smoothly again. Run the wax gently over both sides, then open and close the zipper to distribute it evenly. This trick is especially handy on bags, jackets, or outdoor gear. Avoid dyed or scented candles that may stain fabric. Keep a stub of plain wax in your notions box. Wrap it in muslin to keep it clean and use it again as needed.